Hi again, everybody. Welcome to Inside Golf. I'm Harry Donahue. Whether you're a baseball fan or not, there are not many people in the Philadelphia area who weren't familiar with the story of former Phillies catcher Dutch Daulton. In particular, his battle for years with cancer. Dutch lost that battle in 2017. When he was first diagnosed with glioblastoma, an aggressive form of brain cancer, Darren and his wife Amanda formed the Darren Daulton Foundation. Recently, the foundation hosted its 9th annual golf tournament at Huntington Valley Country Club. Many of his Phillies teammates from the early 90s were in attendance, and they'll tell us what the event still means to them and share some of their favorite stories about Darren Daulton. And of course, our teed-off panel will be on the deck at Lulu. It's all coming up next, right here on Inside Golf. The 25th season of Inside Golf is presented by Destination Montco Golf. Visit montcogolf.com. By the First Tee Greater Philadelphia. The First Tee not only helps young men and women become better golfers, but most important, better people. Get involved. Visit firstteephiladelphia.org. By the Philadelphia Association of Golf Course Superintendents, a community of professionals enhancing the game of golf since 1925. Make sure you thank your golf course superintendent today. By Gap, celebrating 125 years of amateur golf. By Jersey Man and Philly Man Magazine, a digital publication and private business network. Read the current issue free at jerseymanmagazine.com. By the Haverford Trust Company. For life's must-haves, there's Haverford. And by Inside Golf's partner since 1998, the Philadelphia PGA Section, the experts in the game and business of golf.
Golf is the great equalizer. For many, this journey is an escape from reality, a chance to be part of a team, a career opportunity. PGA Reach impacts lives through golf by lifting people up, giving them hope, and sending them down an alternate path that they never saw coming. With PGA Reach Philadelphia, as in life and in golf, the most important shot you take is the next one.
Welcome back to Inside Golf. Well, as I mentioned recently, the Darren Daulton Foundation held its annual golf tournament at Huntington Valley Country Club. Sam Wilson was there with Inside Golf's cameras to check in with some of Dutch's old teammates and tell about what the foundation tournament means to them, and more important, what Dutch Daulton meant to the Phillies.
Thanks, Harry. Today we're at the Darren Daulton Foundation golf outing, and we met up with a lot of Darren's old friends who spoke on what the foundation meant to them, and they also gave us some of their favorite stories. We're with Tommy Green, former pitcher for that 93 Phillies team. Tommy, you were a pitcher, and obviously pitcher-catchers have an especially close relationship. Can you speak on your relationship with Daulton?
I mean, I can't. We don't have enough film or time, for that, as far as the relationship concerned. But you hit it on the head, being close and knowing each other. Him knowing me as a pitcher, as far as the professional side, is what he was so good at. As knowing what his pitcher had that day, to be able to call a ball game with that and keeping it going, without having shaking off and taking too much time, getting out of rhythm and stuff like that. He was so good at doing the little things like that for that game, and also keeping us straight, challenging us to be better. And that's what Darren. He sort of, I want to say, he wasn't older than us too much, maybe about 5 years older than me, but he was sort of like a father figure. He had the experience. He commanded that respect. He was a leader out on the field, and that's, and it sort of helped us, being a young guy coming up pitching.
Now, you make sure that you're always at the foundation's events.
Yeah.
Can you speak on that?
Oh yeah, I mean, this is to keep Darren's vision going and what he wanted to do to try to help change people's life and help people that are going through this disease, that he had and battled. He's trying to help other people in the same way, and the family, so they can, enjoy the time with their loved ones and without having to worry about a lot of things. So to keep that going in his remembrance and in his way is what I'm here for. He was a dear, close friend of mine, changed my life more than one way, not just professionally, personally. So, I mean, if anything we can do to keep it going, that's what we do.
You spoke a little bit about your professional relationship, but before we close this out, What is your favorite memory? Keep it at PG with Darren.
Oh, favorite memory. Well, in fact, my favorite memory is very, very PG and very, personal in the fact that when he come into a room and he saw you, and he was this way with a lot of his friends, with people, very caring and giving guy. He would walk into a room and that smile that he had, and then you'd get a hug and a kiss on the cheek. I missed that hug and kiss on the cheek. He was very personal and heartfelt, and a little whisper in your ear, and that's what you miss. That's what I miss.
Larry, you had an especially close relationship with the entire 93 team. You coached them. Can you speak on your relationship with Darren?
Oh, Darren was unbelievable. He's like another coach in the room, really. It made our job that much easier. He wasn't afraid of confrontation. He wanted you to play the game the right way. I mean, he was a true leader. And, it didn't matter what he hit. It's the way he took control of the clubhouse and everything. And as I said, Jim Fregosi was our manager. And when you have an extension like that as a player, it makes everybody's job easier.
Now, you make sure you're always at the Darren Daulton Foundation events. Can you speak on the foundation and how much it means to you?
The foundation means a lot to me because Darren just wasn't a guy that I coached. He was a very close friend, and his wife Amanda and my wife are very close. So to continue this legacy is very, very important, and it's going to save lives. I really believe that, and that's the bottom line here. His name will never, ever be forgotten in Philadelphia, so hopefully we can continue this, and we can solve a lot of these problems that have occurred in people's health issues during their course of their lives.
Okay, I'm here with Danny Jackson. Danny, obviously, pitcher-catcher connection. It's really a solid bond you guys have. What's some of your favorite memories with Darren?
Well, Darren was always the leader of the team, that's for sure. I'll tell you a little story. There was one time where we were in St. Louis and we weren't playing very well. The first two pitchers were the rookies, and that was Schilling and Tommy Green. Then I came out to pitch, and sometimes I struggle in the first couple innings. Well, I was struggling again on the first couple innings, and Darren came out, and, I can't use the words he was saying to me. He said, start throwing strikes and all this, and I can't use the words what I was telling him. I just told him to get back there, call the game. You're talking to a veteran, and, we'll work it out. So I ended up throwing another, 6 innings after that. So I went about 7 innings, but that's the type of player Darren was, But that whole team as a whole, we took that, and we didn't get all upset over, oh, well, you said this to me, you said that, we got on each other to make us better. And Darren was a big part of that because Fregosi would always go to him and say, hey, you need to talk to this guy about this. Okay, got it. He'd go do it. That's how Darren was, and he was a great catcher. He knew a lot of what I like to do, and not as well as what I like to do because every pitcher pitches a little bit different. He called Schilling's game, he called Greeny's game, he called my game, which are all different. And so that's what a good catcher does, let alone you didn't have to worry about people stealing bases because he'll throw them out.
Mickey, you had an especially close relationship with Darren. Can you speak on that for us?
Yeah, he was like a father figure to me when I first came up. He really taught me a lot about being a big league ball player, dealing with the media in Philadelphia, the fans, how to play hurt. I mean, Darren went through like 9 knee surgeries and played every day and things like that. So we became really good friends, and obviously we lost him way, way, way too early.
You said that he really had an impact on you as you came up in the organization. Can you give us some of your favorite stories?
Well, my favorite story with him is when I was probably my second year in the big leagues, I was platooning. So I was playing against right-handers, and Mariano Duncan was playing against lefties. And I had an opportunity to start against a left-handed pitcher. And there was a guy on second base, and I come up to the plate against the lefty all excited, and I bunted. And I got the runner over, but I got into the dugout, and Darren pulled me aside, and he said, what are you doing? And I said, well, I'm just trying to get on base. And he goes, do you want to play against left-handed pitching? And I was like, absolutely. And he goes, well, what are you bunting for? You got to prove to these guys that you can hit left-handed pitching. And so I took a lot from just that little comment from him pulling me aside. And the following year, I was starting against left-handed pitching. So, and that's what he not only cared about winning, but he cared about his teammates.
All right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, the Foundation President, Brett Datto, will tell us about the Dutch Daulton Foundation and more on the annual golf tournament at Huntington Valley.
Taxes, medical bills, whatever they need.
Do you think this Valley Forest vacation was your idea? We've been controlling us the whole time. This racing game is great. but nothing beats the real thing.
That sloth you think I love so much gets me a free trip to the zoo.
They don't know they're hungry yet, but I do. I'm starving!
Charlie, Charlie. Works every time.
Just wait until you see what I plan for the next trip. Visit Valley Forge where kids make the rules.
I'm here with Brett Datto, president of the Darren Daulton Foundation, and we have a beautiful day for the golf outing. Brett, what was your relationship with Darren, and what made you want to do all these fantastic events for him?
Yeah, so I'm a lawyer in Philadelphia, and I first got to know Darren professionally in 1994 after the Phillies were in the World Series in 1993, had that great run, and I was fortunate enough to represent Darren and get to know him both professionally and personally. So then in 2013, when Darren was unfortunately diagnosed with brain cancer, we decided to start this foundation, and it's been great. It's been 9 years, and we raise a lot of money to help people that are affected by the same type of brain cancer that Darren was affected by. So we do a bunch of fundraisers a year, and the support of everybody that comes out to these events is remarkable. So we're very fortunate.
Now, this is just the end of an entire weekend of events for you guys. How much money have you raised so far to this point?
Yeah, so yesterday we had our celebrity bartending. We had 25 former Phillies come out, some of Darren's teammates, some of the 1980 guys, some of the 2009 guys. So it was really great to have them there. That event alone raised about $35,000. We're still counting up the, all the pennies. And then today's golf tournament should gross about $150,000. All of the money that we raise goes to qualified applicants as long as they have a confirmed medical diagnosis of a brain tumor and they can't afford their monthly expenses. We're there for them. They can fill out an application on our website. We'll pay their mortgage, real estate taxes, medical bills, whatever they need.
Incredible. So you guys, obviously, I said this was the end of just this weekend, but you said you have a lot more events. What's the next event coming up?
Yeah, so we're going to do a gala in either February or March. We're still working on the details of that. That'll be kind of a little bit more formal event. We're all used to wearing, our Phillies gear and stuff like that, but that'll be a little more formal. And then we do a Broad Street run, which is great because Blue Cross Blue Shield gives us 100 bibs, and then people run for Team Dutch and raise money through that. And then we do about 3 or 4 other fundraisers throughout the year, and it's just remarkable. Anyway, anybody who wants to get involved, there's 3 ways to really get involved. You can go to DarrenDaultonFoundation.org. You can sign up for our newsletter there. You can go to our Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. Just follow us, and that's the best way to get involved and know about our events.
We're here with Dickie Knowles. Dickie, so you did play with Darren for a year, but you said you knew him all the way back in 1983. Can you tell us how you first met?
Well, the way we first met was, it was in Veteran Stadium, but I was playing for a different team. I was with the Chicago Cubs. And there was a lifelong friend of mine who was probably the greatest pitching coach in Philly's history, in my opinion. And he called me up in my room, and I go, Teef, what are you doing? Are you in Philly? He goes, no, but I want you to go say hello to a player on the Phillies. And I said, I played with the Phillies in 79, 80, and 81, but I'm not a Philly no more. You know that, right? He goes, yes, I know that. Go say hello to this player. He reminds me of you a little bit, only he's smarter. And I said, well, who is this? He said, the kid's name's Darren Daulton. I said, Teef, I'm pitching today. I'm not going to say hello on a skidaway day. He said, do me a favor, go say hello to him, because I told him to go say hello to you too. He's one of my favorite people. So I walk out, and I'm getting ready to go warm up, and I'm going, this is really ridiculous. I can't believe Teef's been in a game. He played in the major leagues. He knows this is like an unwritten rule. And so I sat there for a minute, and I said, I see him now. He came out, and he's playing catch. He's got a brace on his knee, and I walk over, and I said, hey, are you Darren Daulton? And he didn't say anything. He just kind of looked at me, and he says, are you Dickie Knowles? I said, yeah, and he got real quiet. I said, well, I'm going to walk to the bullpen and warm up. And he finally said, hey, it's nice to meet you. He says, have a great game. I said, that was kind of weird. I said, hey, everything all right? And he goes, Teef and I told me if I would talk to you on the day you pitched that you would probably hit me right in the back when I batted off you. I said, no. I said, are you playing today? He goes, no. That's how I first met Dutch.
I love it. You've had a lot of brain problems coming with that team and everything, so it means a lot to you guys. Can you talk on that?
Well, the cancer is, you had John Vukovic, you had Johnny Oates, 2 of the greatest friends of my life, along with Dutch. I was very close to Dutch, too. Dutch may have been the greatest leader of all time. He's such a great man, and he was the only person I ever met in my life. Well, there's been 2, and he died of brain cancer, too, and I left his name out for a reason. It's Tug McGraw. Tug and Dutch are the only 2 people I've ever met in my life that never said a bad word about anyone, no matter what the circumstances were. Great character on both of those guys. They love life. They love baseball. To me, they are the Phillies. And to have their names representing something like this is just special. And come out and do, so many kids are suffering from brain cancer today and all kind of different cancers. So it means a lot just to come out and have fun, play golf on a beautiful golf course.
Can you speak on what the foundation means to you?
Well, it means a lot just because of Darren. I mean, Darren was a very special person and a leader for me. Not just a leader, but a friend to me. He took me under his wing as a young player here in the organization when I came over, and he treated me in a very special way. He meant a lot to the organization just because of his leadership, the love that he poured on everybody, and it was an awful thing that he had to go through, and we've had a few. We've lost a few to this terrible disease, so I'm happy to be a part of it, and excited about being an ambassador as well.
Now, you got to play with him, but then also when you went to the front office, he was always a part of the team and stayed around and helped you guys out. Can you give us some of your favorite memories with Darren?
Wow, there's a million of them. I think just more than anything, just real quick, he used to literally take me out to dinner. In the years 96, 97, when I came back to the team, and he was still there before he went to the Marlins and helped them win a World Series. Just spent so much time off the field with him, getting to know him as a person and what he was all about. And in fact, we actually, when I became an assistant GM, we actually did interview him to possibly be a manager for us too. So that was kind of neat too. Just so many different memories. I love his affection. He's like the kissing bandit, but he's probably the only man I'll let, other than my brother and my dad, the only man I let me kiss him on the lips. So
I love it. Thanks, Ruben.
Thanks to Sam and Ruben. And Ruben, thanks for the bit of inside information on Dutch, the kissing bandit, back in the day. And if you'd like more information on the Darren Daulton Foundation, perhaps you'd like to contribute, well, just tap the QR code on our screen, and that will get you exactly where you want to be. All right, stay with us. Next up, our teed-off panel.
More of it, I'd probably have a better
Welcome back. Inside Golf Now continues on this beautiful fall day from the back deck at Lulu Country Club. I was just looking at Lulu's menu every Sunday during the football season. They have special menu items, and they had a burger. My goodness. You ready? It's quarter pounds of Angus beef with a light over fried egg, bacon. It's right here at Lulu Country Club. All right, right here with us today from the Philadelphia section of the PGA, Director of Communications, that would be Mr. Matt Fry.
Thanks for having me, Harry.
From Lulu. He traveled all the way from Lulu to get from the front door to the back deck.
Walked right by the City Burger.
Jim Sullivan.
Thanks
He's
for having
an
me.
icon. And he's only,
sure.
in his mid-40s, and everybody here at Lulu loves the guy.
Yep.
And Joe Logan, he's a little bit older than Sully, but the older you get, the wiser you get, right, Joe?
Okay, absolutely.
From myphillygolf.com. All right, Mr. Fry, since you're a professional, you work for the PGA section here in Philadelphia, how would you like to see if we could get the two sides together just for a weekend of a Ryder Cup style event between the LIV guys and the PGA Tour guys? First of all, do you think it could ever happen? Under the current circumstances?
Under the current circumstances, probably not. The tour
Okay.
doesn't seem to budge. I think LIV would be all for it because it would legitimize them, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. I think it would be an interesting telecast.
Interesting because the dynamic and everything?
Yeah, I mean, they obviously don't get along, and a lot of them, as we were saying before the camera started rolling, they have not been shy about letting their opinions be known about each other. So I don't see that happening anytime soon. I think a more interesting prospect might be to have men and women be on the same team and compete United States versus international in a President's Cup type situation. I think that would be fantastic and really help elevate some of the women's telecasts.
Yeah, Joe, if you correct me if I'm wrong, but they had a similar type event. I think it was sponsored by Wendy's, and it was held at down in Innisbrook, for at least a couple of them. Senior guys, regular tour guys, LPGA women, And it was interesting to watch, right?
They call it like the 3 Challenge Tour or something like
The
that.
3 Tour Challenge.
3 Tour Challenge. Yeah.
You had it almost right, but yeah.
If I'd watched more of it, I'd probably have a better record.
And if it hadn't happened 25 years ago,
That's the
I
point.
forget the actual time span that it was on, and it was around for a couple of years, but like everything else, nothing stays around forever, right? But what about it? Pick up on what Matt
I
said.
completely agree with Matt. You know, is it a good idea? Maybe, but is it going to happen? I don't think so anytime soon, but for exactly the reasons he said. To do so would be for the tour to legitimize LIV in a way they're certainly not ready to do yet. Eventually they may get there, but they're not there yet, and that'd be the last thing they'd want to do is do it. Now, if you were to accept for a moment, what if they did and advance to the question of who would win? That's a more interesting question to me in some ways. I would at this point say the tour guys would still win, but if a whole lot more people go over to LIV, that equation could change.
Right, and we don't know how that's going to all play out. From a television standpoint, television loves to have, you know, the dynamic. They don't want everybody to be, you know, kissing and holding hands and all that stuff. So they you know, go back to the war at the Sure and the Ryder Cup when it got really ugly back in the early 90s
91.
between Seve and Azinger and all that. And there were some other contentious things happening. From a TV rating standpoint, I think personally it would blow the roof off what they get for the Ryder Cup, which is bigger than any event in golf and television, the Masters or any of the majors.
So, yes, and to that point, it's all about money these days. I hate to say it. You know, the PGA Tour may not want to legitimize
Well,
LIV.
Rory McIlroy's not playing for nothing. Forget about LIV. He's
But think
not
of
playing for
think
nothing.
About Jay Monahan. Sure, you don't want to legitimize LIV, but take that to the side for a second and think about who's writing the checks for the PGA Tour. And, you know, the President's Cup doesn't, I don't think, generates a lot of interest and therefore not a lot of money. The Ryder Cup does, but the Tour has no stake in that. If they decide, hey, this might be a way to change the dynamic a little bit, I agree that it would be huge dollars. I agree that a mixed event would be really, really good and interesting. On the LIV front, if you and my critique about LIV is it's 10 or 12 players deep, world-class players. Well, that's all you need for a team event. I mean, you get those guys there, and the guys that have gone, for the most part, not every one of them, are, for me, easy to root against. So I'll have no problem picking a side. And the way all the social media about it, I don't think anybody will have a problem picking a side. Even if, you know, McIlroy is a European Ryder Cupper, but he'd be a PGA Tour player, and it'd be a hell of a lot easier to root for him. It'd be entertaining.
Oh, it would be. It would be. Can you imagine, like, you know, in the singles competition on the last day, 12 against 12, and it comes down to like Rory McIlroy against Cam Smith.
Tiger and Mickelson, too.
Or, well, Tiger's his Ryder Cup, whatever Cup days, they're nothing personal.
18
Tiger.
holes?
It's not going to happen, okay? But just given the current lineup that they have out there, it would be pretty special. Now, you can make him a captain.
Rory and Cam Smith?
You can make Tiger and Greg Norman the 2 captains.
Oh, man.
Huh? How would that go down? You'd like that?
It'd be like Khrushchev and Kennedy fighting off. You remember
well,
that?
who's going to be banging their spikes on the desk, you know? But it would certainly add a little bit of spice.
Yeah,
not that we need more, but we always need more, don't we, Matt?
Well, it helps ratings, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I know Greg Norman would be all about it. He's very big on the self-promotion and self-appointing himself captain.
He
Why
may
not?
be a player's captain. Now, he could beat Tiger right now. I'm saying that.
I'll
That's
take
my
that
prediction.
bet. Yeah,
I would too.
Would you take that bet?
The guy made the
Who's in better physical shape?
The guy made the cut in a couple majors he played in this year. Tiger did.
I know.
He made the cut in the.
And what happened to the other two? One
I don't
he
think
didn't play
he played in one. And did he miss it at St. Andrews?
Why? Because he couldn't do it.
But yeah, but
Greg hasn't qualified.
You're a witness. Thank you, fellas. We'll be right back. More of Inside Golf in just a moment. Designed by Donald Ross, Lulu Country Club is one of the premier private golf courses in Montgomery County. This classic 18-hole course boasts a new state-of-the-art clubhouse with many amenities for members to enjoy. Members are invited to play in events, tournaments, and enjoy guest privileges. For more information, contact membership@lulucc.com. The oldest state or regional golf association in the country hits a milestone this year. GAP celebrates its 125th birthday. Celebrating amateur golf since 1897, GAP has evolved to include 300-plus member clubs, more than 90,000 individual members. It offers events for males and females of all ages and ability levels. GAP continues to uphold its mission to preserve, protect, and promote the game of golf. Happy birthday, GAP.
While most drivers spend their lives going from point A to B, in America, we're all about point X. That's why our most versatile BMW X-Range vehicles are proudly manufactured right here in Spartanburg, South Carolina. The BMW X-Range, your next X-Venture, starts here. Hurry in to lease a 2023 BMW X5 X-Drive 40i for $879 per month.
That's going to do it for this week's edition of Inside Golf. Coming up next week, we'll have a look at a recent dedication, the Bob Shepard Simulator Room at John F. Byrne Country Club. John F. Byrne, of course, is the headquarters of the First Tee program of Philadelphia. Bob, frequent contributor over several years to Inside Golf, loved the First Tee and what it stood for. So they decided when they were fixing up John F. Byrne to include a simulator and name it after our late great friend, the great Bob Shepard. I'm Harry Donahue. Thanks for joining us on Inside Golf, and we'll see you next week from John F. Byrne and the dedication of the Bob Shepard Simulator Room. The 25th season of Inside Golf is presented by Destination Montco Golf. Your next golf getaway is in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. Visit montcogolf.com. By the First Tee Greater Philadelphia. The First Tee not only helps young men and women become better golfers, but most important, better people. Get involved. Visit firstteephiladelphia.org. By the Philadelphia Association of Golf Course Superintendents, a community of professionals enhancing the game of golf since 1925. Make sure you thank your golf course superintendent today. By GAP, celebrating 125 years of amateur golf. By Jersey Man and Philly Man Magazine, a digital publication and private business network. Read the current issue free at jerseymanmagazine.com. By the Haverford Trust Company. For life's must-haves, there's Haverford. And by Inside Golf's partner since 1998, the Philadelphia PGA Section, the experts in the game and business of golf.